Hello, my name is Jabril, and I'm going to be talking about the new Netflix show
Wednesday.
Wednesday. I just finished a couple of days ago, and I want to talk about it. This is going to be a short review, 2, 3 minutes. I don't even know how long it's going to be. I just want to talk about the show because there's a lot to cover here. I think that overall, this show is great. This just feels once again like classic Tim Burton. I think Tim Burton over the past few years went a little bit quiet. I'm not saying that he hasn't made any content. I just think that the classic, creepy Tim Burton, the creative Tim Burton that we used to know with Batman, Edward Scissorhands, and all those wonderful films he made, has been kind of dormant. And I just think that he finally does it here. This feels much more his style. Everything in this show just feels like, classic Tim Burton. Overall, I thought everything for the most part was pretty good. I thought the direction was great. I thought the performances, especially from Jenna Ortega, which we'll get there in a second, the writing was pretty decent. There were a lot of plot holes and a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe they will be answered in season two, and a few other nitpicks. But overall, I really liked this show. I was looking forward to it when I heard it was going to be announced because I do like the Adams family. When they announced Jenna Ortega as the role for Wednesday, I thought that was perfect. I mean, it's really a no-brainer. I mean, I think that she's been rising in popularity lately, with X and Scream 2022. I thought that her casting choice was great, and her performance was just the best part of the entire show. I mean, everyone's just talking about her specifically. She has like that dark, obscure persona that Wednesday has, and she has a little bit of a dark humor.
Want to take a stab at being social? I do like stabbing.
There were many moments that this show actually did make me laugh and crack up because of the dark humor. I think the dark humor was done very well for the most part. There were also a lot of quirky moments with the character Wednesday. There's that awesome scene where she's playing Painted Black on top of a roof with a cello. Like, that is so cool. There's also that dance scene that apparently was choreographed by Jenna Ortega herself that everyone's talking about. That's just already iconic. Not only that, but we also get to see the character of Wednesday grow. There are moments where you can see Wednesday is thinking and contemplating about herself. There's even this great line that I love that she's like,
Honestly, I wish I cared a little more.
that is so great. And you see her progression throughout the show as she starts to kind of slowly let people in. A lot of the side characters were great too. Enid was pretty funny and likable. She brings a really great side out of Wednesday, something that she's never experienced before. I thought the character of Tyler was great and Xavier, especially what they did with them. I think that there's a constant mystery going on with those two characters that makes you think who, like, is this guy bad? Is this guy bad? Like, and I did enjoy that. It creates a suspense. The mystery of the story was done pretty well. I think that it was pretty engaging. I do have to say though that some things were a little iffy in the story. For example, I thought that the involvement of the other characters from the Adams family was a little bit unnecessary. Not to say that I don't want them there. It is fun to see Gomez and Morticia, but I felt like their only purpose is in the first episode. They're only needed there to drop off Wednesday and to give us a little bit of insight on her. But I don't think, that backstory that they give for Gomez and for Morticia in the story was really necessary. I just think that it kind of takes away from the story being told. And even though they do try to tie it up with Wednesday's story and the mystery that's going on, I just still felt like it had nothing to do with the story. Uncle Fester's there too, and he's also great. He does bring a happier side to Wednesday. You can tell that they have a little bit of a bond together. But once again, I don't know if he was necessary in the story. He didn't really tend to do much except I can't say that part. It's kind of a spoiler, but he does do something at the end. And but other than that, I think the only Adams family character that kind of serves a purpose in a story is Thing, because he's the one who's taking care of Wednesday the entire time, and he's the one looking after her and helping her. Overall, this is still Wednesday's show, so we didn't really need the other Adams family characters. But Thing was actually pretty useful, and he was actually enjoyable. He had his character. He might be a hand, but he still had character, and especially what they do with him at the end with him and Wednesday in the seventh episode. I think that was great. I loved it. It was kind of touching. Now, overall, even though I did love the show, I'm gonna get to some of my negatives. I thought that the effects were not very good. I don't know if it was rushed. I don't know if they didn't have the money to make it look better, but the monster and the CG it just doesn't look very good. It looks a little strange. Like, I can't explain it. It just It just doesn't look right, but it's not a big deal. Since we don't get to see much of him, mostly it's focused on Wednesday. Everything else, just the way it's shot and the way it's lit, everything looks pretty good. But the parts where the monster pops up is a little bizarre. I also thought the conclusion was a little bit of a mixed bag. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it and it was a little satisfying, but at the same time, it wasn't. I don't know. Something about the finale felt a little bit rushed. I don't know if it's just me, but there was a lot going on in the finale. It has to focus on so many different things and so many different characters that are playing a part in the finale that it's a little confusing. And once it gets to the big bad of the finale, it just doesn't feel as satisfying. I feel like he just shows up to give Wednesday, a final boss, and she defeats him like very, very easily. And it just kind of had me sitting there thinking, okay, cool, I guess. But I just felt like that finale could have been handled a little better. But yeah, overall, those are my thoughts. If you haven't seen it yet, I do recommend you watch it. This show is really good. I'm not really surprised that it surpassed Netflix's record with Stranger Things as one of the most viewed shows. Really hope there's a season two because I think there's a lot of room to explain, a lot more to, add here to the character of Wednesday and to the world that they've created. I think season two is going to be a possibility though, because there are a lot of things unexplained and this show has become very popular. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix, continues this story. So yeah, those are my thoughts. And to cap it all off, I'll give this an 8 out of 10.